In this video, I'm going to share with you my top 3 tips on how to be successful as a freelancer in the world of video. Now, this is certainly not a definitive list by any means. I'm still learning a lot every single day. But these are a few of the things that I've found to be most useful over the last few years of being a full-time freelance filmmaker. My hope is that this video can give you some useful information no matter where you are in your freelance journey, whether you're thinking about it, just getting started, or you've been at it for a while. While I've made and titled this specifically for people in the world of video, there's a lot of info in here that crosses over into other fields. So even if you're not a video creator, I'm hoping that there will be some good information for you to take away. All right, let's dive into it with tip number 1. Tip number 1 is education. And no, I'm not talking about spending all day watching YouTube videos on the latest 12K camera that none of us can afford. I've been there, might have done it today. It's a black hole. I'm talking about investing in yourself as a business person, as a freelancer, and as a human being in general. When I quit my job and started freelancing full-time, one of the goals that I made for myself was to listen to one audiobook a month that was related to business, self-improvement, or motivation. Can I just tell you, this simple practice has completely changed my life. I can't recommend it to you enough. The great Zig Ziglar said, information is inspiration, and I've found that to be 100% true. Meaning, the more I learn about something, the more passionate I become about that thing. I've got a few books specifically that I want to recommend that have been especially impactful for me. I'll share those at the end of the video, so be sure to stick around for that. While there may not be a lot of books out there specifically on how to be a better filmmaker, there are a ton of books that will give you a better understanding of business, marketing, efficiency, and on and on. When you freelance, you're essentially running a one-person business. So if you have no understanding of how business works, there's probably a pretty low ceiling on how well you can do. There are other creators out there who may not be as talented as you, but if they understand business and marketing better than you do, they're probably going to make significantly more money. When you invest in yourself through learning, you are investing in your business. With this practice of listening to an audiobook every month, there have been times when I pushed it to the back burner and kind of stopped listening. In retrospect, I've seen that those are the times when there's a huge drop-off in my motivation. There are other ways to invest in yourself through education, such as podcasts, YouTube videos, online courses. The most important thing is to find what works for you and stick with it. For me, there's just something about listening to a book from start to finish at least once a month. When I watch too many videos or listen to too many podcasts, my mind gets a bit scattered and it's hard for me to stay focused. Number 2. Tip number 2 is view your work as an investment. What do I mean by that? Well, think of it this way. The work you're doing today is the work that's getting you hired tomorrow. Let's say you're just starting out, so you agree to do a project for free. There's a couple ways you could think about it. You could say, well, this is a free project, the expectations are pretty low, I'm not really getting paid, so I'm going to get this done as easily and as quickly as I possibly can so I can move on to the next thing. Or you could view it as an investment. You could put in the extra time, do the extra research, maybe rent some extra gear, make it as awesome as you possibly can and treat it like a project that you're being paid well for. Now, when somebody else sees it and they like it and they come to you and say, hey, I want you to make something like that for me. You say, fantastic, I charge $500 or whatever seems fair. That's a whole other thing. But we're not done, and here's where it starts to get good. Let's say you get hired for that next job for $500. Again, these numbers are arbitrary and just used to show the concept. So you could take this job and treat it like a $500 project and do exactly what's expected of you. Or you could again view your work as an investment. You could treat it like a project that you're being paid $1,000 for. So that again, when somebody sees it and they come to you and say, hey, I really like that and I want you to make something like that for me, you can say, fantastic, I charge $1,000. While it may not happen exactly like that, that's roughly how the cycle works. And that's why I say to view your work as an investment. People are only gonna hire you for something they've seen you have the ability to deliver. If you keep making the same level of product over and over again because that's all somebody's willing to hire you for, you're gonna hit a ceiling really fast because nobody's gonna think to hire you for anything else. You have to show them that you're capable of more. Again, the work you do today is the work that's getting you hired tomorrow. Tip number 3. Tip number 3 is take action. I gotta be honest, this is the toughest one for me. I love that first tip about education because I can sit in my comfy house or in my car and listen to an audiobook and it's all good. But let's be real, if I don't do anything with that education, it doesn't do anything for me. You have to get out there and take action. Shoot the passion project, send the email, set up the meeting, make the website. The undeniable truth is that you reap what you sow, and it doesn't always happen overnight either. One example I have is a business contacted me a while back because they wanted to use one of the photos that I posted on Instagram. I told them they could use the photo, but I also threw it out that I shoot video professionally. I simply asked if they'd be willing to meet with me so I could learn more about their business and see if there'd be any way that we could work together. I met with them, talked with them, learned about some of their marketing needs, and showed them some of my work. Nothing came out of that meeting for over a year, and they still haven't hired me. But recently, they just recommended my video services to another business in their network, and that business just hired me for a project. Like I said, it doesn't happen overnight, but if you continue to take action, you will get results. And honestly, I mean it when I say this is the toughest part for me. Because when you take action, you put yourself out there with a chance for failure, and I'm terrified of failure. But on the flip side, you also put yourself out there with a chance to succeed. And more important than either of those outcomes, you put yourself out there with a 100% chance to learn something. And when you learn something, you will improve. And when you improve, it will ultimately lead to more success. You don't have to take the perfect step every time, you just have to do something. All right, there you have it. Those are the 3 things that I've found most helpful so far on my freelance journey. And now, as I promised earlier in the video, I'm going to share with you some of the books that I've found to be most helpful. I'll include links to each of them in the description below. That kind of looks like a thumbs down. Description below? Why do I have to tell you where the description is? Is it as if you've never seen YouTube before? The first one I recommend is a book called Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. This is honestly the best book I've ever read on the topic of marketing. Next is a book called The One Thing by Gary Keller. This one is a great book if you're having a hard time prioritizing or if you're feeling overwhelmed by how much stuff you have to get done. And lastly, Born to Win by Zig Ziglar. This book will help you with motivation, goal setting, and all kinds of other stuff. All right, folks, that's all I got for you today. Thanks for watching. Peace.